Life is not fair. That is something that children seem to understand at a young age. However, how children develop a sense of what is fair and what is unfair, and how they act on that sense, has been a puzzle for scientists. A team of scientists recently traveled to 7 countries to study how children understand fairness. They wanted to know how much of a child's sense of what is fair is natural and how much is learned. To do this, the scientists created an experiment to study how children responded to 2 types of unfair situations. The first, called disadvantageous inequity, is when one person receives less than another. The second, called advantageous inequity, is when one person receives more than another. Past experiments have shown that children as young as 4 years old think it is unfair to have less than others. However, children do not think it is unfair to have more than others until they are 8 years old. That difference shows that children may have to learn that it is unfair to have more than others. The scientists wanted to find out which feelings about fairness might be shared by all children and which might be learned only in certain countries. To do this, scientists built an inequity game for children to play. This game is played by 866 pairs of children between the ages of 4 and 15 years old. The children lived in 7 different countries around the world. Those countries were Canada, India, Mexico, Peru, Senegal, Uganda, and the United States. The game was simple. Either 2 boys or 2 girls in the same age group played the game. The children sat at a table. They were given some candy by a machine. Sometimes the serving of candy to each child was equal, sometimes it was not. Only one child got to decide whether the kids should take the candy. The deciding child did this by pulling one of 2 handles on the machine. If the child thought they should take the candy, the first handle was pulled. This gave the candy to both children to eat. If the child did not think they should take the candy, the second handle was pulled. This dumped the candy into a bowl where neither child could eat it. The scientists wanted to see how the children reacted to be given different amounts of candy. When the deciding child was given less candy, the results were almost always the same. Children in all 7 countries thought it was unfair to have less than the other child and rejected the candy. Scientists expected this to happen. The results were different when the deciding child was given more candy than the other child. Only children in 3 countries were likely to think this was unfair. Those countries were the United States, Canada, and Uganda. The older these children were, the more likely they were to think having more candy than the other child was unfair. This interested the scientists greatly. The scientists believed that this was because the idea of fairness is very important in Western countries like the United States and Canada. They believed that children in these countries learned from people around them that they should always treat others fairly. This was also true in Uganda, even though it is not a Western country. It is a country in Eastern Africa. However, the scientists explained that many teachers in Uganda come from Western countries. They taught the children Western feelings about fairness. The scientists now believe that people do not always think about fairness in the same way. In fact, how people think about fairness may depend on if they have more or less of something than another person.